Have you ever considered volunteering to join a mine rescue team? You may wonder if it's right for you or not, for a variety of reasons. CORESafety's Paul Krivakucha from the National Mining Association recently conducted a great interview. He spoke with 5 members of the Coal Mine Rescue Hall of Fame to hear what they had to say. This is Tim Watkins, Kenny Murray, Joe Pavlovich, John Urosik, and Jim Vicini. Pay close attention. These are mine rescuers who've walked the walk and talked the talk. There's a lot to learn from their experiences.
What would you say is the most important aspect of mine rescue from a personal standpoint? In other words, what has it meant to you personally to have the commitment and the responsibility that's associated with such a vitally important mission?
When I joined the mine rescue team, it was an honor to be on the mine rescue team. A lot of people wanted to get on that weren't chosen. It was hard work. When everybody else was hunting, fishing, or playing golf on Saturday, we were practicing all through the summer month. Sometimes it slacked off in the winter, but it was hard work. And when Scotia happened, I guess personal satisfaction was being able to perform well. And, our team was kind of the lead team there. And, we mapped, I've still got those maps today. Of course, they were used in the investigation and were returned to our company there years later, but then they gave them to me. I was the map man, but that was very rewarding. And it's quite an honor anytime that you're called when people are missing. And I've been called many, many times, after that. And job opportunities were galore after that. The teams that performed, the other companies wanted you. You got promoted in your own company. There are a lot of good things that happened from just being on a mine rescue team. I think, to underestimate how hard it is would be a mistake, because it is hard work. It's not for everybody. I've seen, people that want to get on the team that were some of the best workers I've ever seen, but when they put the apparatus on, they just couldn't hardly take that. And they may have had family issues when the wife said, "Oh no, you're not going in a coal mine with smoke coming out of it," and those kinds of things. But it takes a special breed to be a mine rescue team member. The willingness to be able to go in when everybody else is coming out is pretty important. I'm proud to have been in that category for many, many years. I guess after Scotia, there was a few years where I got promoted that I wasn't on the team, but it was a very few years until I was brought back in and as a trainer, and eventually as a corporate coordinator. At one time, I had more than 30 teams across the country under my area of responsibility. A lot of them were surface mine rescue teams, and most were underground. But, we coordinated all that. We did MERT exercises. I know John brought all his equipment out to Colorado. Or West Elk operation at one time, and we did a full-scale MERT out there that was very important to point out what it takes to be prepared. Having your mine managers and everyone else at the mine understand, the decisions that have to be made in the event of an emergency. And, that leads into crisis management planning, emergency preparedness. And having been a part of all that, I think along with the other folks on this panel, we've come a long way since the early days and having a lot of explosions and mine fires, and we've gotten so much better. But at the same time, we have to be prepared, because we're only one mistake away from the next one.
Jim, I was going to mention too that I think you mentioned it just a minute ago, but you were also from a state level. So your state work was similar to your operational, being in the operation when you were with the state?
Yeah, I was director of safety for the state of Kentucky. Yeah.
Right. And that included the mine rescue?
Yes. In Kentucky, the state is mandated by legislature in Kentucky to provide mine rescue coverage for every mine in Kentucky.
It's a terrible thing in a mine disaster, especially when the outcome doesn't go the way you'd like. But during that time, you make relationships like all the people on this screen I'm great friends with and have great memories with of battles that we fought at these mine fires. And it's such a rewarding experience to be able to help people. It's even more so when you can save someone. Of all the ones that I've been to in my life, obviously the Q Creek one, even though you may not realize the role that mine rescue played there, but it was a major role. And of course that was one where a lot of people were involved. A lot of people made some really great decisions, and those decisions all come together to come out with a great outcome. What people might not realize is that there was a mine rescue team that was prepared and ready to go down that borehole when they hit the mine, because we didn't know if those miners were alive or not. And there was a mine rescue team going to go down in an unknown environment through a hole to help the miners that were there. We never thought that they were going to come to the bottom of that hole. So mine rescue had a major role in that. Fortunately, the miners were able to come up by themselves. But of all the things that I've been involved with, that's the one that sticks with me the most, simply because it was such a great outcome. But I can still remember each and every other one that I've been to, and seeing the families as we were come onto the scene, and it's just memories that stick with you. And at the end of the day, you're so happy that you can be involved, and you can say, I tried. And I was part of that group of people that was there to try and save their families or whoever might not have been at the mine, and we did everything we could. Those are the good things that you'll remember forever, and it makes it so worthwhile to be involved in that.
I appreciate that. I didn't realize that Q Creek, that there was a mine rescue team. Never heard that. That's the first time I've ever heard that. And I watched that 24 hours over and over while that was going on. That was a great outcome to what could have been a very bad situation.
You hate to say that there's some reward following a mine disaster, but it's an unfortunate set of circumstances, an unfortunate event. But at the end of the day, somebody has to get in there, conduct an investigation, figure out what happened so it doesn't happen again. So it does have a little bit of a reward to where you're a part of something in mining history that who knows how many lives you prevented in your role in that particular investigation or recovery or whatever it is.
How many active mine rescue teams, coal and then metal, non-metal, are there currently in the country? Do you know roughly?
I don't know the exact number. I think the last number I had was somewhere around 125, but I don't know. It may be more, maybe less than that, but that's the number that I had.
And at the high, how many was it?
Oh my God, I don't know at the high, Joe. I mean, we have at the Nationals that one year. I mean, we had 113 teams one year at the Nationals, I think, in Columbus.
At 1 year in Louisville, we had about 120 teams, Tim.
Okay.
That was our peak number. And, we started out, when I first started doing those contests, I think we were down to about 40 that worked in 97, I think, and maybe 95. But then, the industry grew. We had a lot more teams competing, a lot more companies put on teams. It grew significantly over those years.
What would you say to new miners or those who might be considering mine rescue as a way to contribute to the industry, or perhaps even as their career path? So, John, I'll let you head that question.
Well, I would tell them if they had the opportunity and they think they might like it, to try it, because if they do like it, it's something they'll love for the rest of their lives. And one of the things that goes on now and has in the past, not only are you involved in the rescue efforts, if people are trapped, but you're also involved in the recovery efforts. Companies and MSHA, like mine rescue teams, like to have the recovery efforts done by mine rescue teams, because you have people that are geared to looking at situations where there's gases, where there's bad roof, where there's all the things that you learn in mine rescue, present when you go into these recovery operations. And it just makes everyone so much more comfortable when you have mine rescue folks involved in these recovery efforts. So I would say to anyone that to try it. And if, as Joe had said, not everyone can wear apparatus, but if you can, and once you've done it, you'll fall in love with it, and it'll be with you the rest of your life.
John, maybe I'd stay with you, but anybody else could answer this question, and then we'll carry on. But so if a person was out there at a mine and wanted to be a mine rescue member, then who would they approach, and what kind of character would they be looking for in a person for mine rescue?
Well, anybody can be involved in it. I could say, for example, if I was a volunteer fireman, so I was one of those crazy people that were going in when everybody was coming out, and that's what I love to do, and I still do it. So anyone that has that kind of background, anyone that really wants to help people, and I can tell you, they're the leaders. They're the people that everyone looks to when things start going wrong. If there's a mine rescue person in your workforce underground and something starts going wrong, they're going to be the leaders. They're going to be the ones that you say, okay, what do I do? What's the next thing I need to do? And you've been involved, you've been trained in that. So you can help people right there from the very beginning. So it's a really rewarding opportunity.
No, thank you for that. Jim, your thoughts?
Okay, well, just by the personal sacrifice and the risk that someone's willing to put themselves out to help other people, you immediately become a hero, and that is a fact. The willingness is always there, to be able to do the kind of work that may be required. You're going to increase your knowledge in safety, your knowledge of gases. It's going to you'll separate you from the average working miner. The opportunities to advance in your companies and other companies or get a job with MSHA, for example. MSHA definitely looks for mine rescue background, as being important in the hiring process. But it just increases everything that you need to know to be good at what you're doing in mining. And as John said, you will become a leader. And as he said also, and I echo that, when something goes south at your operation, everybody looks to the mine rescue guys to, what do we do now? They don't have to look for them because they're already out there in the lead. They know what to do. They know how to react. And it's just, it's very rewarding to be on a mine rescue team. Here I am, been retired now for a couple of years, but I'm still willing to do anything for mine rescue and anything that I can to help miners go home safely. So that's the kind of person we're talking about, and you become that when you get on a mine rescue team.
And Jim, I know that from a mine rescue perspective, that mine rescue people just aren't mine rescue. They're workers. They could be anything from a supervisor, manager to a laborer underground, right? I mean, so they have other functions and they have other job duties, and so it's a variety of anybody can do this to be a mine rescue member, and you don't have to have a specific background as a miner, whether it be metal, non-metal, or coal. Am I correct?
Absolutely, and with you having said that, I would say when in training mine rescue teams and when you're picking up team members, you're looking for certain qualities, but the brawn is one of the things, that you don't necessarily have to be, a muscle man to be able to be on a mine rescue team. You're looking for people that are good at mapping, engineering type people that are just smart, that, don't panic and make good decisions. And, you don't have to be a college graduate or an engineer or anything else to be smart. Those degrees help in a lot of different ways, but it's not mandatory to be on a mine rescue team.
Thank you, Jim. Tim, I'm going to turn it over to you. I hope you give us a little follow-up too on the generational side of mine rescue as you answer this question.
I can get to a little bit of that, but one of the things that the biggest commitment it is commitment. it is a commitment to be part of the mine rescue team. I mean, Jim talked about spending the Saturdays on the practice field, rather than not playing golf, hunting, or fishing. It's a commitment that you have to make to do it and be good at it. It's not for everyone, and I echo what John said as far as if you think you're interested in it, and you're willing to make the commitment, give it a try and see if it's for you, because it is the most rewarding part of the job that you'll ever be a part of. I can't think of any better mechanism for a person to be recognized, not only in their organization but throughout the mining community, as to be associated as a member of a mine rescue team. You talking about the generational side? I do have two sons. They both are members of mine rescue teams, different teams, so they do compete against each other. It makes it interesting sometimes. But the thing about it was, I never had to encourage them to do mine rescue. They wanted to do it, on their own. I guess they seen what a important part of my life mine rescue has been, and so they wanted to try it. They both love it, and I don't think they would consider doing anything else now. It is good to see, and we do need the younger folks to step up and be part of these teams and take advantage of the learning opportunities that are available to them. But it's such a great way for them to be recognized. I mean, you got CEOs of companies and that otherwise may not know these people. Everybody takes an opportunity to learn their people. Don't get me wrong, but when you remember a mine rescue team and you got the commitment from those leaders, they take an interest, and it's good to see. And it's like I said, there's no better way to get your face and your name out there.
Well, thank you, Tim. I appreciate that, and I think we all would agree that we appreciate that your sons have moved on and taken this on and followed through again in the footsteps of their dad. So appreciate that. Joe, I'm going to turn it over to you and get your thoughts.
Well, I think there's a couple of things. First of all, the immediate impact that you get when you on a rescue team, as some of the guys already said, you learn a lot about ventilation, you learn about hazard recognition, you learn a lot about mine gases and fire gases, you learn barricading, airlocking, all those type things that the average miner might have a little bit of knowledge of, but not as much. So you're able to take charge in the event of an emergency and really help out and really do what needs to be done. So you improve the level of safety for your coworkers and for other people in the mine. It's important to have a rescue team at the mine. And even as those guys turn over, they don't lose that knowledge. So you might have 7 or 8 guys on one rescue team, but over a period of 10 years, you might have 30 that are trained in all those things because they've previously been on the team for a few years. So that's very helpful for yourself and for your fellow miners. In the long term, I think mine rescue and mine rescue team members seem to advance through MSHA, through companies, through state agencies faster than other people. For one thing, they have a good work ethic. They're knowledgeable in a lot of different things, and they show a lot of initiative. And if somebody's out there working in the coal mine and they've got a rescue team at their mine and they're interested in it, I say try and join up. The knowledge you get, nobody can take it away from you. And you're always going to have it, and it's always going to be better for you and for your coworkers.
Yeah, great thoughts and great sharing your experience and hearing about people, how they, not only this group here, you guys being the elaborate Hall of Famers, but I'm talking about people that moved through organizations that started, as miners and then went to mine rescue and then, pretty much moved up into more significant, if not most significant positions in the organization. So that's great to hear, and I appreciate it. And Kenny, I'm going to turn it over to you. But one thing before you get started, I wanted to mention that I know we got together the other day and we shared some thoughts. And I know one of the thoughts that you put on there was the value of mine rescue to an organization from a value standpoint, as far as let's call it insurance. So I'd hope you elaborate on that in your comments.
Yeah, I'll start out with that. It is the best insurance policy that money can buy, and it's right at our fingertips. So the resource that we have in the Mine Rescue team member is that policy, that insurance policy. I mean, they literally maintain the operation. Back to what John said about being involved in the recovery after a mine fire, explosion, whatever it is. Those guys are a critical element in returning that mine back to normal production. And the better personnel you have on these mine rescue teams, the quicker you get your mine back. So that is a fact. That really is. But what we just talked about, I think everybody touched on about the value that it provides the individual team member to his operation. He's more valuable to his operation and to himself and family. But Tim talked about his two sons. We have the privilege of having the eldest son work for us. And about a year ago or so, he was just promoted to supervisory position. And that was based on his commitment, his personality, his work ethic, his leadership, all that goes along with being a team member. That was a critical element in his putting himself in a position to advance within our company. So, I'm just as proud of him as Tim is, I'm sure, because I know his kids when they were very young. We both lived in the same community and we watched each other's kids grow. So it's a thrill for me to see Tim's son move up through the ranks as well. So I'm just as proud of him as Daddy is. So congratulations on that, Tim.
Thank you.
But at one point, in everybody on this panel can remember, and I think Jimbo said it, you put an application in and you hoped that you got picked, and you were competing against the cream of the cream. I mean, everybody wanted, or not everybody, but a lot of people wanted to join that team for the reasons that we've all talked about today, and who you are as a person. That's not the case today. We actually got to go out and recruit, and maybe what we're talking about today will reach some of these younger miners, and they'll see the value and hear the value and feel it and say, hey, it is for me. But I would say to these guys, and I hate to use these witticisms, but I would tell them that the juice is worth the squeeze. I mean, you have there's a lot of rewards. I mean, there's risk involved. There's no doubt. I mean, you can't hide the risk. Like John said, people are running out, we're running in. So there is a risk, but the rewards that come along with being a team member, my rescue team member, far, far, far outweigh what that risk is. And like I said, it's not you against the world. It's you as a part of a team that work toward a common goal. So that in itself is a driving factor to a lot of our coal miners. And it's an opportunity that's out there. It's available. And like I said, we would ask these guys if they don't think that they're capable or maybe they don't know exactly what it is, to seek the mine rescue trainer, or at the very minimum, go to the safety director, because the safety director is usually, he's usually connected to the mine rescue trainer, team trainer. So if a guy's interested and maybe he's a little backward as far as maybe instead of him waiting for us to ask him if he wants to come forward, go talk to the mine or to the safety director at the mine, and he can direct him into the path that the start of mine rescue career. And he won't look back, and he'll never be sorry. I promise you that.
And I think I maybe would want to add to that, and maybe anyone wants to elaborate a little bit, but one time it was probably mostly men, but now there's quite a few women that are part of mine rescue teams across. Am I correct on that? Across the country and across the different groups, whether it be metal, non-metal, or coal. Tim, maybe you can elaborate on that for anybody else in the group about the diversity that's out there.
Absolutely. The first time I ever went under apparatus was at the Willow Creek mine. I think it was in 98. I think, if I'm correct, John. And the first team I traveled with, they had a lady that was on that team as well. And if you go to the competitions now, you will see a lot of diversity when it comes to the makeup of the teams. I mentioned the international competition that just had in 23. I think there was an all female team from I think from Canada that came down and competed. So and there's no doubt that it's predominantly men, but there are a lot of women that are getting into mine rescue. One of the things that was started here a few years ago is collegiate mine rescue team, and I'm a big supporter of the collegiate teams. I know that most of the colleges, have collegiate teams that compete, and they compete for national bragging rights as well. So, and I mention that because I know that my youngest son was a member of the UK mine rescue team, and his team captain was a female, and she did a very, very, very good job. So the opportunities are there, and we do encourage all the minority groups to participate.
Thank you, Tim. Maybe I'd add my last comment to the mine rescue side of it, or competition. Anybody that I ever talk to that never has been to a competition, never saw a competition, has no idea what they're going to, they come back with a whole new view of the amount of training, the amount of camaraderie, and the amount of competition that goes on at those. And how committed everybody is, how committed those teams are when, before, during, and after the competition, and how meaningful it is to them as a group. So I just want to mention that I've heard that from several different people that have attended those kind of functions.
So, if you're a miner who's thinking about volunteering for mine rescue, we hope that these Hall of Famers may have helped you a little bit. If you're ready to move forward, get some time with the safety director or supervisor at your operation and tell them what you're thinking. They'll be glad to answer your questions and discuss next steps. For CORESafety and NMA, please stay safe out there, and thanks for watching.
Got questions? Want answers? Follow CORESafety on social media and write to us sometime, will ya? We'll write back.